Hello everybody, video here for you today. This is the No Cap recap of the new Oak Island companion show series, Tales from Oak Island, Season 1, Episode 8, called Booby Trapped. Originally aired March 25th, 2025. I recapped the main show late Tuesday nights, and this show after each one aired. This could be the last one, at least for this season. There's a link to my Oak Island playlist in the upper right. Let's get into it. Previously on Oak Island, people have been looking for an incredible treasure for 230 years. For 230 years, off and on, many different searcher groups have attempted to dig in order to find buried treasure in the Money Pit area of Oak Island. Water remains undefeated on Oak Island to this day, which leads many to believe the treasure is protected by an elaborate system of booby traps. Most recent example was the garden shaft. This water coming in was blocked by sealing the shaft walls, but later probe drilling at a deeper depth caused flooding at a rate that made the shaft too dangerous. Even though the water could be pumped out constantly, the flooding and pumping would likely undermine the walls of the shaft and soil around it. In 1795, Daniel McGinnis found a 13-foot wide depression on the eastern side of Oak Island. He and his friends dug and found a series of oak platforms every 10 feet. They got to the third platform before accepting that the operation was beyond their ability. They formed the Oslo Company with a local investor, and with more men and resources, got to the ninth platform, finding the 90-foot stone. The group removed the stone at the end of that day. The next morning, they found that the money pit had flooded and was filled with 60 feet of water. They thought that removing the stone somehow triggered the flooding. In 1849, the Truro Company began digging operations and also experienced flooding events. They found that it was salt water, so it would have to be from Mahone Bay rather than a freshwater spring underground. 520 feet from the money pit is Smith's Cove, and the Truro Company began searching for the source. They found that it was a man-made beach, and below it were 5 box drains connecting to one tunnel. They also discovered that the builders used coconut fiber to make sure the drains didn't get clogged. The closest source of coconuts was 1,200 miles south. The Truro Company partially dismantled the system, but that did not stop the flooding, leading people to believe that multiple flood tunnels in different directions exist. In 2024, the Laguna team dug between Smith's Cove and the Money Pit in an attempt to find that flood tunnel. Near the suspected tunnel depth, the excavator brought up a bunch of cobblestones. The flood tunnel was reported to be 3 foot by 4 foot and packed with cobblestones. The next scoop hit water. The operation was eventually halted due to the sides of the excavation caving in, also experienced by multiple searcher groups. In 2018, the Laguna team sunk a caisson in the Money Pit area in which they hoped to hit the tunnel dug from Shaft 6, which in turn was constructed in 1861 by the Oak Island Association in an attempt to bypass the flood tunnels to retrieve the treasure. The tunnel reportedly flooded 1 foot away from the original Money Pit shaft, which then collapsed, sending cribbing and any other contents to the bottom and perhaps even into the tunnel. It's possible that the water and pumping operation caused it, which is what Dumas Contracting feared would happen by continuing efforts in the garden shaft after that flooding. At least 8 other shafts were dug in the 1800s to try to do the same thing, but all of them flooded. The main show episodes, as of this recording of this recap, include the Laguna team sinking 2 caissons into the outline of Shaft 6 and then preparing to sink another into the tunnel from shaft 6 closer to the long-lost money pit original shaft location. In 1897, Frederick Blair used dynamite to try to blow up the flood tunnels in Smith's Cove, but that did not work. He then put red dye into the money pit and was surprised when it was seen not only in Smith's Cove, but the South Shore as well. South Shore is closer to the money pit. Also in 2018, the Laguna team used borehole C1 that they knew has salt water in it for their own dye test. The only place it showed up was in Smith's Cove. In 1961, Robert Rustall uncovered a Smith's Cove stone-lined shaft that was 1.5 feet wide and 32 feet deep. He believed it was dug by original depositors as a way to turn off the flood tunnel. Rustall put a concrete mix into that shaft and reported that the water flowing into the money pit area slowed. During their 2024 excavation of Smith's Cove, the Laguna team found chunks of cement, which they thought was possibly the Rustall work. A Rustall drilling operation in the money pit area revealed various tunnels at different angles, leading them to believe that there was a corkscrew tunnel below the original shaft that allowed depositors to bypass the flood tunnels. In August of 1965, Robert Rustall, his son Robert Jr., and 2 employees succumbed to what is believed to be hydrogen sulfide in one of their pits, causing incapacitation and eventual drowning. Since the discovery of the money pit, people have wondered who would have had the people, the knowledge, and the resources to build the original shaft and the flood tunnels that protect it. A popular theory is the Knights Templar, a powerful order during medieval times that possessed not only the finest engineering prowess, but also in water supply, drainage, and sewage. Since the majority of their vast wealth was never found, the theory holds that the Templars were proactive in hiding it before the Pope and King of France conspired against them and declared them heretics in 1307. In the Convento de Cristo in Portugal, a Knights Templar stronghold, there are markers for which way the water is flowing in aqueducts beneath the city that reminded researcher Corin Mall of the finger drains on Oak Island. A France field trip to a prison used for holding Templars revealed this carving of a cross. And a short time later on the island, Gary and Rick found a lead cross in Smith's Cove that dated back to the 1300s. The metal in it was proven to have come from a Templar mine in southern France. Evidence of treasure on Oak Island came in the form of continuous groundwater testing that shows high trace evidence of gold, silver, and other precious metals. Natural deposits have been ruled out. As mentioned, the Laguna team's most notable booby trap moment was in the garden shaft after so much work and time was put into refurbishing it and making it deeper. Horizontal drilling to determine which direction to tunnel in ended up being the cause of the end of the garden shaft, at least until further notice, as 700 gallons per minute of seawater rushed in. Tunneling would be a much better way to go than drilling from the surface. Next time on an all-new The Curse of Oak Island episode called Just Beat It! Beat It! B-E-A-D. As new research identifies who may have been behind the Oak Island mystery, the Lagunas and their team are stunned by what they find in the money pit area. And 2 Tuesdays from now, the Curse of Oak Island episode is called The Solution. And new ground. Penetrating radar uncovers evidence of more structures in the swamp, and as winter approaches, the team puts a daring plan together to get into the solution channel for the first time. I'll be continuing no cap recaps of the Curse of Oak Island late Tuesday nights as the new episodes air. My Oak Island playlist and Skinwalker Ranch playlist are linked on the screen. The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch seasons 1 and 5 are done, and I'm currently working on seasons 2 through 4. The first 5 episodes of season 2 are in that playlist. Thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe, like, and comment. Sempre avanti.